If you end up with overly sibilant vocal recordings, you'll have to deal with them in Pro Tools with the Dynamics 3 DeEsser plugin. A DeEsser is a fast-acting compressor that works on the high frequencies to reduce sibilance in vocal recordings. It doesn't completely cut out sibilant frequencies, it just compresses them really quickly. Ultimately, with a DeEsser, you want it to sound completely transparent, meaning that if you apply the DeEsser correctly, you won't even be able to tell that a DeEsser was applied until you bypass the plugin. So here's an example of something I recorded, and we ran the vocals through some hardware EQ and compression on input, but we added a bit too much high end, causing the S and esh sounds in my voice to really pop out too much.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
And here's what that sounds like soloed.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
So you can really hear the S's popping out in the words always have to say, and even on the word do at the beginning, there's a bit too much front-end high transient.
Why do we always have to say goodbye?
So I've got the Dynamics 3 DeEsser up, and I'll make it active. And typically what I do first is search for the sibilant frequency range. So typically this is going to be around 6 kilohertz or higher. So you can move this around to set the frequency range of the DeEsser, and then click the Listen button to just hear this frequency range. This will help you isolate and identify where the sibilance is. Then I'll turn this off, and you can pull down the range knob, and this applies compression when the signal comes through at the DeEsser frequency. Now you have to be careful not to pull this down too much, because it can completely destroy the clarity of the sibilant range.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
Right now, this is applying the reduction to the entire frequency range. If you want a softer, more transparent effect, you can click this high frequency only button up here, and it'll only apply the compression to the high end.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
So with this on, you can dial in a bit more aggressive setting.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
So that's how you can de-ess vocal recordings in Pro Tools. Remember, excess sibilance can usually be avoided altogether with proper miking techniques and mic angling. However, if you do need to de-ess in a pinch, the Dynamics 3 DeEsser is here.